welcome to class number 10 of Sculpey 101. This is the final class, and here we're going to go over found objects, inserting and embedding various things into your sculpture, and I'm going to do a quick finish on this piece. I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to paint it. Not a full color paint, but just a way to really bring out all the little details and textures that we've worked so hard on. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's talk first about found objects. What are they? Where do you get them? How can you find them? What if they get lost? I'm going to tell you. So, first place I find found objects is like craft stores and stuff. And in case it's unclear, a found object just means anything that is not Sculpey that you're sticking into your Sculpey statue. For instance, this vase is a little flower vase that I found at the thrift store. Thrift store is a great place to find little found objects. So yeah, here's some beads. I'm going to be using some skewers that are used for, I think, for torture. I get them at the grocery store. I don't know why they have torture devices at the grocery store, but they do. Jewelry findings are great for, well, jewelry and sometimes other things. Speaking of jewelry, any places that you see congregations of like 12-year-old girls at the mall, I always head straight there, because that is where you can find junk like this, like little trinkets and bits and bobs that are like super cheap. I mean, they'll fall apart in a matter of days if you actually wear them as jewelry. However, if you attach them to a sculpture, they last forever. And they're like on sale, 70% off. You know, $1.50 for this sort of thing. Yeah, so a lot of that kind of stuff. You can also embed cloth if you so choose. Here's kind of a, this is I'm gonna add this to his turban, like a ratty rag sort of thing. I made simply by pressing, putting this gauze, this is cheesecloth or something, between two pieces of fabric, or well, two pieces of Sculpey, and then put those Sculpey in fabric, roll it through the roller, and out comes this fun little thing. So in general, cloth is fine. You just want to be aware of cloth that has plastics in it, like spandex, or basically the stretchier it is, the more you probably want to stay away from it. Easy to test. Just put it on a sheet of aluminum foil right on the rack in your oven. Turn the oven up to about 230 degrees and watch it closely and see what happens. If it burns your house down and everything you know and love is gone from your life, then don't use that stuff. Also, I mean, speaking of losing everything you know and love, I find recycling old jewelry, like, your mom's favorite necklace, just grab that from her room, rip it up, and you've got all these fun little bits that can be used for who knows what. So I'm going to spend some time just experimenting with composing these found objects on this piece in a myriad of ways. Yeah, so let's get started, shall we? No, let's not get started. Wait 1 second. The last category of found object that I want to talk about is baked Sculpey. So it's quite often in the workflow that you'll have kind of discrete pieces that you can bake separately and then attach. So for instance, I've got this pot that's going on his head, right? I've got this little wire sticking out the bottom so it can stick right in and balance there. I've made this lid for it. And the neat thing about that is you can take a piece like this and you could sand it, drill it, carve it, whatever you need to do while it's separate from the final piece, because once it's attached, it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So I'm going to do a little sanding on this real quick just to demonstrate. Oh, I should note, if you're not familiar with what I'm actually using here, these are sanding pads that gradually go from a coarser grit to a finer grit. The coarser it is, the more it'll even out the large features. and the finer it is will get rid of the scratches from the coarser ones. So you basically go from a process of coarse to fine. You can find, I'll put a link to some sanding sponges you could get online. But yeah, if you want a truly smooth surface on your Sculpey, it's really the only way to do it. Alright, now if you were around for previous lessons, you may remember that I mentioned I wanted the pot on this guy's head to have like a creepy arm coming out of it. So I thought it'd be fun to have a lid that's being kind of broken open and the arms coming out. So there's a couple ways to make a broken surface. My favorite one, though, is to literally break the surface, which requires baking it first, and then coming in with a hammer or pliers. Let's see, I'm going to go with a hammer right now. I'm thinking because the hand busted up out of it, I want to break it from the inside out. And actually, here's a quick tip. Since I know I'm going to be doing it from the inside out, I can actually go in and pre-weaken where I want it to crack just by carving it. So I'm just going to set these parts aside, and once I get the arm in place, I'll decide how I want them to set on there. Alright, let's get back to this guy. So, we've got our delightfully cracked pot. I made a new hand. Here's the hand that we did in the class on hands, and I just wasn't very happy with it. You know that party I was telling you about where I did some karaoke? I was actually stuck on the freeway for 4 hours to get there. So I was driving on the on-ramp where you'd wait about 2 minutes and then pull 1 car length forward, and then 2 minutes, etc. Fortunately, I brought a ball of clay with me because I am a fairly, what is the word? Like, I don't mind talking to people. I enjoy talking to people. But I don't like introducing myself to people, and I don't like being in a room with a lot of people I don't know. Anyway, the point being, I like to have a little ball of clay or a sketchbook or something with me, and I just kind of do that so that there's no pressure, and it's probably pretty off-putting to most people, especially when you're sculpting something like this. Anyway, this was mostly done in the car, but yeah, so this is my new creepy arm. And this is what's going to be coming out of the pot. Remember how I said I was all upset because it was the wrong hand? So I took advantage of creating a new one to make it the right hand. So he's going to be coming out of the pot, touching his head, like so. Alright, now I had these stakes that I was going to use to stake it in place. I had this toothpick in here just to hold that piece of fabric up. Okay, so those sticks serve the function. Now I want to make them decorative as well. So that's what I've got these guys for. And then I wanted to attach like chains to the lid. Like the lid has to be chained on to keep that evil arm inside the pot. So I was gonna attach them like so, which means I'll need some, what are these called? Jump rings. Don't know why they're called jump rings. Nothing about them makes me feel like jumping, but that is what they're called. This is a little tool that's made for bending wire. It's great if you've got jump rings you need to use. Basically spread them apart like that, and you stick them through, and you squeeze them back together. Got a cheap little earring here I'm going to use to pin his scarf in place. I'm going to give him some fancy earrings. He seems to be kind of a ceremonial kind of guy, I feel like. In case you have not been following along, this is rubbing alcohol that I'm brushing on here to smooth out the rough areas where I just wrecked his ear up putting this earring in. If you didn't know, this is the 10th part of a 10-part series. If you want to see all of them, here is the playlist, and you can watch through, catch up with where we are now. Actually, it would be super cool if you posted a link to, you know, some art you've done based on this. I would love to check it out. I'll give you a critique, free crit. How amazing is that? What a value. I will tell you that you're terrible, that your work will never amount to anything, that you should just give up now for free. No, I'm just kidding. I actually give very positive critiques. I don't actually like hurting people's feelings, which is ironic because I do it all the time. But yeah, I'll be very gentle. I like to see people's work. I like to encourage them along and show them, like, I like breaking it down and thinking, what's the one thing that they can improve that will move them in the right direction? I like learning that kind of stuff too. I clearly need it. Okay, let's do one more earring on this side. I think I'm just going to do a simple hoop on this one. Alright, I really like this thing for like a weird chainmail. And it's probably going overboard to add so many different textures and materials and stuff to one piece. But really, this is just kind of a learning piece for fun anyway, so I'm going to throw it on there. I'm going to break all the rules so you don't have to. Isn't that nice and fancy? Taking full advantage of the way that it can do folds and wrinkles like that. And it covers up the terrible seam in his neck. Win-win.
Win-win is number 4, and number 5 is win-win-win. The important difference here is with win-win-win, we all win.
Now let's see if this fur will still work over it. So besides using found objects strictly as decorational things, you can also use them functionally. So in this case, I'm using these tiny little nails to reinforce my sculpture. So I really want that arm to stay there, so looks like it's hitting the little heart thing there. So I will find a spot where I can stick it through. Oh no, it's hitting his plate mail underneath, or chain mail. Oh dear, let's see, maybe here. Yeah, that'll keep it in place, and then I'll just do a little tuft of fur over it. If you look closely here, you can see one of the reasons I generally avoid white Sculpey. This section right here, where it's bending, I don't know if you can see it or not because of the white balance, but it's cracking, even though the stuff is super soft, so I keep having to go over it and re-massage it down into place to cover up those cracks. So that's just one of the annoying things that you should keep in mind if you're using white Sculpey. Alright, let's see how we're going to get this arm on here. when you're baking your Sculpey, it will sag if it's not supported. So because it's important to me that the finger, you know, hit this part of the head, I've got to support the arm, otherwise it's going to sag past it. So aluminum foil works. You can also, if it's in a place where it could show dents from the foil, you can use polyfill. I'll post a link to it. I mean, it's the stuff they use for stuffed animals. It's, you know, fire retardant, so it can definitely withstand the heat of the oven, but it's really soft, and so it's like putting your sculpture on a pillow, and it won't distort it the way that a piece of foil might. In this case, this is a really old, craggly arm anyway, so I'm not super concerned that it's going to put some dents in it. And I think I'm also going to try to pin the finger to the head. This is going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm using an actual, like, sewing pin. I'm going to place it right where I want the finger to go. I don't know if you can see that, but it's sticking out just a millimeter or two. And then I'm going to press my finger right onto it. Not at all ironically. This is an instance where the finger really could have used some armature wire in there to keep it posed exactly how I want it. In general, my hands are just kind of free-floating doing what they do, and in that case they don't really need an armature. In this case, I'm trying to get it exactly in a specific location, touching a thing. Now I can use it, so. Oh well, you live and you learn. Alrighty, off to pop this guy in the oven, and then we'll talk about a cool painting technique to bring it to life, bring everything together, and make it one coherent mess. Yeah, there's no way this thing's going to be coherent. Sorry, guys. But the paint job will look cool. Alright, fresh from the bakery. Well, semi-fresh. You don't want to pull it straight out of the oven. Basically what I did was I put it in for about an hour at 225. What I do is I put it in the oven, then I turn the oven on so it ramps up fairly slow. And then after about an hour, it's halfway through Mad Max Fury Road, however long that is. So when you put your sculpture in, turn on Mad Max Fury Road, watch half of it, then come out, turn off the oven, and just let it sit through the rest of the movie. When the movie's done, open the oven, let it air out for about 10 minutes. That'll bring it down to near room temperature. The idea, obviously, is just to slowly ramp up the heat, slowly ramp down the heat. The slower that happens, the less likely there will be cracking. Easy as that. Okay, so let's, before I paint this guy, there's a few little minor things I want to do. Mostly things like glue stuff in place, stabilize a few things. This pot isn't quite on there as firmly as I would like. Not super happy with the cracks up here, so I think I'm going to delicately break some of them and glue them back into place. There's some magical spell that super glue has on it that it will always find my fingers somehow, unless I wear gloves. When I wear the gloves, I never get any on my fingers or on the gloves. It's just that the glove has magical properties that keeps the glue from sticking. Okay, so I had all of this scarf head material pressed up against the jar at one point, but through all the shifting around and sticking the sticks in and stuff, it kind of got separated. So I think I'm actually just going to stuff some of this gauze in here. Since I've already got that already going, that should blend in just fine. Well, after it's painted, it'll blend in just fine. Alright, now let's go explore the miracle of paint. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind is always spray paint outside, unless you've got a nice little spray booth like I have here. Even so, it's good to wear a mask. And I'm doing even coats from somewhat of a distance, trying to get all the angles. This is a primer, by the way, just a regular gray primer. You could use almost any kind. You can see how it brings everything together. All those elements that look completely out of place because they were different colors, they all come together beautifully. Alright, now it's time for a wash. So we've got a freshly painted statuette. Now, well, base coated, I guess you could say, with primer. Okay, now we're going to do this paint wash, and this is what really brings out all the details, makes it look great. It's super easy. The downside is it's also super messy. So I make sure I got a paper plate to catch all the drips, lots of paper towels, a little cup of water, and then I'm just using this super cheap acrylic paint you can get anywhere. I've got 3 brushes. They're all very soft. It's important that they be soft. The little one is for getting paint into all the itty bitty crevices. So this is basically how I do it. Throw some paint on. Gotta make the sound. Get my brush nice and wet. And then I start working the paint into all the little cracks and crevices. And I keep adding water to it. I'm just going to keep adding water till it flows all over the place. I am not actually painting this statue black, although it looks like it. It's going to continue to be gray. The black is going to keep getting watered down more and more and more until it's only going to be in the cracks. I don't want to let it pool up and dry in any particular spot, so after a minute or two, the paint's going to start to dry a little bit, and that's when I'll just take some paper towel. See there, it's too dark. Just wipe it off. Or dab it off. Back with more water. Trying to look at it from many different angles, because a lot of times you'll miss spots because just where the shadows fall. So rotate the statue around a lot to make sure you're getting in all the nooks and crannies. You want to try to work from the top to the bottom, since the drips keep going downward. If you start at the bottom and work your way up, you're going to keep going back down and cleaning up stuff that you've already done. Okay, so the gray spray paint layer brings everything together. The wash brings a lot of depth to the piece. And then finally, if you really want your details to pop, you can do a dry brushing coat. What dry brushing is loading your brush up with a paint color, in this case white, and then you dab most of it off on a paper towel, and then you gently brush over the surface, and if you've unloaded your brush well enough, then the paint will just stick to the highlights. You can see that really pops the details there. Look at that. Check out them veins. So veiny. Yeah, so anyway, I usually do a quick pass of this over most of the sculpture. It's super quick, super easy, and as a result, it's really fun. This little amulet here seems like a good spot for a signature. Alright, so there we have it. That is the piece. I'll put it on a beautiful rotating display right here. Okay, and so let's wrap this up. I guess, let's see. I hope you learned a lot about the basics of sculpting with Super Sculpey. Just to recap real quick. Number one, always use reference. Always, always. Even if you're making something fantasy, there is always some real world reference that you can find. Two, block out your forms first. Make sure you're happy with your volume and your proportions before you start detailing. Three, when you do detail, you can go in with a soft brush and rubbing alcohol to smooth it down, make it more real that way. Four, make texture stamps to save time. Five, be creative with found objects. Always keep your eye out for fun things that you can stick into your sculpture. 6, I highly recommend sculpting while driving. 7, you can bake as you go, so you can sand and chisel and drill and all that kind of fun stuff, and then just keep adding clay on after that. 8, a wash of black paint over a gray surface can bring everything together and make a nice monochrome finish quickly and easily. If you want to learn more about more advanced painting techniques, check out this tutorial here, another beautiful 10-parter. It also goes into casting, molding and casting and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's it. Like I said, I'd love if you posted your work, if you were following along and you made a head or anything cool like that. Post the link, I'll check it out and comment on it. Also, if you have suggestions for other tutorials that you're interested in, how do you make a fill in the blank, I can probably make a tutorial for that. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, the very best way you can do that is by sharing this video with people that might enjoy it, or share it with people you know will hate it. No, don't do that. Just share it on social media. It'll work. Trust me. It'll all work. Is that all? That's all. I'm done. You're done. We're done. Hi there, my name's Josh Foreman. I make videos about art and design themed around video games and generally nerdy things. This video is about me starting a Patreon and the general future of this channel, the kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing on it, and why you might want to support it. So, for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's basically just a way to give a little bit of money to people you think are doing good things, like $1 or $2 a month, or $5 or $10, whatever you're comfortable with. And enough people do it, it adds up, and it makes it so that people like me can feel right about spending all the time and money that we spend on this kind of stuff. So that is why I'm doing this. Now I want to give you a basic value proposition. This is what I plan on doing with the channel going forward. I'm going to keep making super detailed art tutorials that YouTube doesn't reward. No one's doing it, and I want it to exist, so I'm going to keep doing it until someone comes along and does it better. And I've decided to simultaneously release short versions of my tutorials for those who just want to watch them for entertainment rather than education. Another thing I'll be doing that YouTube actively discourages is diverse content. Here are 3 groups of interests: art, games, and world building, all residing within the kingdom of geekdom. Most of my videos so far live in this section of the Venn diagram, between art and games. more so in the art. But I've been slowly working in the background on a video series about the medium of video games as an art form. In fact, I've been working on this since 2010. I've got all sorts of fun stuff in there, like skits and characters and interviews, special effects, all sorts of stuff. It's gonna be neat, trust me. If you can't trust a guy who looks like this, who can you trust? So those videos live over here. And finally, world building is something I'm going to be slowly moving into over the next year or so as I start releasing a series of novels set in a universe I've been developing for a really long time. This is a super exciting project because I'm attempting to do something that I've never seen done before. I'm going to try to crowdsource the knowledge necessary to design a scientifically plausible fantasy sci-fi world. That's where I'm really going to need your help. You know how you know a lot about some subject like astronomy or biology, history, physics, and every time you see a movie or book that deals with the subject, it just does it totally wrong. My goal is to build a world where that's not the case. And for that, I'm inviting people like you to nitpick me to death. Get your well-actually fedoras warmed up and ready. Correct all the implausibilities until the stories told in the world are just awesomely consistent, realistic, while still pushing the boundaries towards the fantastic and sublime. This has never been done before because there's never been a mechanism for world building that includes a potentially unlimited pool of experts. So if all or any of that sounds cool to you, stick around. Subscribe, hit the little bell button for reminders when my videos come up, share my videos, or support me on Patreon. The link will be in the description to all my videos. I would love to create a community of smart, creative people who just love learning and sharing ideas. And so yeah, stick around. I think it'll be fun. This is going to be fun, right? Yeah, it's going to be fun. It was actually a little difficult for me to come to the decision to do a Patreon. The idea started a couple months ago when in one of my videos I mentioned that I had to spend a couple $100s on some new equipment. My old stuff was breaking down. And one of my subscribers, who goes by the name of Polymer, they offered to give me a couple $100 to cover that expense. And at first I was like, no, that doesn't feel right. I don't know why. I think mostly because I've got a good job making video games. I make a good living. I'm fine, pays the bills. I see my work on YouTube more like a community service than a money-making endeavor. I've learned so much from other artists and designers on YouTube, and this is just a chance for me to give back, Now, on top of that, I wasn't enthusiastic about asking for money because I'm just not the best artist out there. I'm pretty middle of the road, to be honest. So the idea that anyone would give money for content created by anyone like less than stellar initially struck me as just kind of wrong. And that's my pitch. Thank you, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe. No, wait. There's a part two. I need to tell you what changed my mind. It took a combination of three things. Three things. Number one, over the past year, my channel went from about 1,000 subscribers to 5,000. It's beginning to, blossom like a beautiful blossom. If I'm doing my math right, I think this channel will be bigger than PewDiePie's in just a couple of months. No, but seriously, it's not a big deal in the overall ecosystem of the YouTubes, but what it meant for me was a huge increase in comments. And suddenly I'm getting thanks and compliments, but most importantly, people saying that I do something they haven't found elsewhere. And that's the key point for me. Like, if all I had to go by was the analytics that YouTube gives you, I'd see that my average view time is around 7 minutes. And that would tell me I'm not being a rational actor. I'm wasting a lot of time and energy making these long format tutorials. I look at the other creators out there who make cool, nerdy art stuff, and their videos are always brief overviews. I was just longing for more step-by-step tutorials that are teaching-oriented, and that requires a lot of nitty-gritty, a lot of time. And the YouTube platform just isn't designed to reward creators for that kind of content. Honestly, I was starting to wonder if what I was doing was even worthwhile. But comments like these made me realize I am making something of value, at least to some people out there. Number 2, I started patronizing, I started to do Patreon for other people. One of the reasons I resisted starting my own Patreon was because I was seeing the Patreon system as a one-way interaction. It benefits only one party. Until I started really getting into patronizing others. Patronizing other people who provide content that enriches my life. I started giving to Mike at Terranscapes. This guy does incredible, detailed, beautiful diorama wargaming stuff, and he does product comparisons and just tons of stuff that I've learned so much from. Then I started giving to people who do really high-quality game design analysis, stuff that I consider to be continuing education for my career. Channels like Extra Credits, Errant Signal, Game Maker's Toolkit, just top-notch content creators out there. You've got to check these guys out. From doing this, I came to understand that the act of giving to those who enrich my life actually makes me feel awesome. Makes me feel like I'm voting with my dollars for more of this stuff to exist. And giving to them made me realize, hey, I'm kind of like them. Remember back in point number 1? Wait, I know, it's been a long time. All those comments I've been getting? Yeah, so this is all like clicking. It's starting to make sense for me, but still wasn't quite enough to get me to pull the trigger. That required, drumroll please, number 3. My financial choices are getting harder. I think most of you can identify with that. So, you know, finances, they ebb and flow, and for me right now, they're more ebbing. Is that the bad one? That's the bad one, right? The finances, they wax and they wane, and right now mine are waning? Is that? Here's the deal. I'm driving a 1996 Plymouth Breeze. I mean, not at this moment. That's the car that I know. Maybe I should do an art tutorial while I'm driving. I'm editing these videos on a 6-year-old laptop. It literally takes 20 hours to render a 30-minute video, you guys. Now, on their own, these things, they don't bother me in the least. I don't care. I don't care about cars. I don't care about the latest, greatest computer hardware. It's just that as stuff needs replacing, I'm being forced to make more difficult decisions about where that money comes from. And you know where that money can't come from? YouTube comments. They feed my soul. They can't replace my octogenarian computer. And while I could continue to pour all these hours and dollars into making this YouTube content, it's just getting harder and harder to justify that when I could be saving those dollars and putting those hours into projects that actually pay the bills. And while I know that Patreon is never going to balance the scales of finance for me, that's really not what I'm looking for here. It's not what I need. I just need something I could point the rational side of my mind to and say, see, it's not a total loss.